So, yeah, we're getting closer to PM. Phones are off, yeah? You want to say L'chaim? What are you drinking besides orange juice? What are you drinking?
Tequila.
Tequila. You want to give another one?
What?
Take another shot.
Drink
Yeah, drink the tequila in this.
Second.
So drink the tequila in this.
Yeah.
It's all about being in proper flow. Weisz is a plastic of a doichik.
Yeah.
So tequila, you want to drink? You want to drink like a mensch. Right. Yeah, for sure. 100%. Alright, so let's get grounded. Everybody's present. Put your feet on the ground. Get comfortably in the chair. Become present that you're sitting in a chair. Exactly. Relax your back. Everything is an energy flow. We are batteries, energetic bodies, electric sensors, billions of sensors that make this machine move. So we're so electronically inclined. We're so electronic that we can actually communicate with the phone, with the plastic. It's so staticky that we can fuel and power up such a thing. It means that koich exists in Welt and we are running, and that this is one of the senses that we have, one of the chushim that we have. So it's important. It's the figure that you're in. It's the position, the tzira that you're in, the kavana, the tzirav that you're doing at the time, emotionally, moicha, liba and kavda, whatever your desire is. Moicha, the mind, the moich, the brain, liba, which is the heart, and kavda, which is the liver. These are the three. So this is Chabad, Chagas, Nahi, Chachma bin Das, Kachab, Kesa Chachma bin Das, Kesa Chachma bin, Liba, which is Chesed Gevura Teferes, and Kavda, which is Netzach Yisod, because that's the law that's bloody and that processes the food, and that deals with the lower end of the consciousness, of our machine consciousness. So these are all very important electronic devices. They pick up the signals and they communicate, and it's they can communicate with more edel things. They communicate with food. They communicate with thoughts. They communicate with. It's all different sensors of communication. So once you get out from the physical illusion that everything is physical, everything is chomer, then you start seeing the other. Now there's the chomer too. There's the physical also. But if you tuned into the physical, you're going to be receiving physical. You're sending out physical magnetic fields, physical signals. So you will be receiving physical signals back. If you live in the harshness, you will receive back harshness. If you live in low frequency, you will have to feed. That invites automatically your level of output, your level of voltage is only in moichen de katens, which is in small-minded things, which is painful things. It's shtissen. It's fadrada yotzes, because there's nothing there. So the haken jani. So if you raise, then you raise your awareness. You start living from a place of higher conscience, mindfulness. So you can, flush out anxiety. You can turn on depression. You can clean yourself. What's a facilitation? It's a high conscious cleaning. What's happening? It's a high conscious cleaning. There used to be Megangan Tzara with Ozgi clean. There used to be Megangan different things. This is another form of cleaning. It's a different type of cleaning because we're both doing the work. It's a collective consciousness. Everybody breathe. So, so it's about raising. So the way you sit, the intention you have, that's how you're going to be processing the light, the energy that's coming in. Where your mind is now, if your mind is in Tohem Rabbi, if your mind is down at the bottom, you will be receiving, and that's what you're going to be fueling. More confusion, more problems, more spins. If you raise yourself, if you're in a good vibration at the time and you receive that, so now you're getting shocked right in the stomach, the feathers. It's a very high conscience light. It's a very high conscience power. It's balance. It forces balance. Now, if your brain is still this big, so you're going to bring balance to that. As you start expanding, you're receiving more balance, more teferes. They're more lit. It's like they're expanding all the way back, like a sprinkler. Different colors, different vibrations. So it's the way you sit. It's important. The tzira is important. The taniyas are important. So first, let's start with, there's some fear going around the whole Ukraine parsha and the ganze Zach. So I said I'm going to split it in two. We're going to do this, stop it, because some people are just living in fear. And
what's this noise?
yeah,
Oh.
Let me see. Touch the fruit. Let's see what happens. Like touch it with more love.
It's gonna shut down.
No. I'm saying like get it on the tickle's ass. Weisz, maybe it's too close to the wall. Okay, this is it. Fine. Fine. You know what? The truth is, unplug it. It's a speed over there. We're thank you for that, because it was actually hurting. I didn't realize. No, yeah, good. Can't much take it. Everybody's going to say l'chaim over here. So the Vart is Zoe. What's going on over here? So we already know the trick. We know that Choshech. We know that Choshech is living off of confusion, low frequency. So what's low frequency? Low frequency is troubled thoughts, confusion. So remember, we used to have the terrorists blowing up places. That disappeared. It's not here anymore. You see it energetically. It was like this blistering problem, and it's not here. Then came COVID. People dying, going crazy. You can see the bluff so deeply that you look in Canada, they're still in lockdown. Right? They're still playing the COVID. That's what's going on here. And then just rescinded. And the whole time over here wasn't even really a thing. For the last year and a half, nobody's been even, it's not a thing here. While everywhere else there is, spinning around it and all that. So then when that started getting old, they came up with a new thing. Now it's Ukraine and Russia. And you can see the same fear, people in fear, the same people that were in fear then are in fear now too. It's the same. It hits the same spot. And when this calms down, my relationship is not good now. There's different levels of confusion, different levels of low frequency. Now, first of all, this whole Ukraine Russia thing has nothing to do with us. Absolutely nothing to do. This is between Israel and Magad. They're screaming at each other. And this is what we're witnessing here is Mekoim Nikmas Dam Avdecha Shavich. Nikmas Dam Avdecha Shavich. He's taken a revenge. He's avenging the blood of his Avadim, which is us, Hashavich that was spilled. What does that mean? Nikmas Dam Avdecha Shavich. So we have Knani Chitamoy Prizi Avisi. We have all the seven nations. These are against the Zion Midas. Everything that you see in physical is also going into the energetic. Here it's just the pretzels. It's the end. But really, it's happening on a much higher level. So as we are battling these attributes, these Midas have been torturing us. These Midas was what exile does. The Midas is what this is the Hitler and this is all the Midas that we're dealing with here. Different triggers that we had to be triggered into waking up to it. So now that the work is done, so there's going to be its eventual, which means that it's no longer being processed through us. It's already their problem. Now they're not even conscious of what's going on. They're just doing, right? You can look now, raise the consciousness. The whole COVID and the whole everything is orchestrated from a higher power. Everything comes from our Creator, which is we can only see him. You can only see him from the back. What does the back mean? The back means physically here. It means here, my physical back. But my back also means energetically. What does that look like? Like different energies manifesting itself. To bring our awareness to that, because before that we were one with it and we didn't know our existence. We were not aware of ourselves. It was just, the child is so innocent. What's the tinimus of a child? The tinimus of a child is that he's not aware. He hasn't been damaged yet. He's just a walking light. Right? In his mind, he's going, coming, and everybody's going to give him and do. It's like, because that's the way tinimus is. That's what Shechina is. He just gives. He's just tinimus. So, but what happens is that the child has to go through a process in order for it to become aware of its existence. Now that you've been through and you had to, and the ones that actually, are from, the front runners that are checking in, are like going to visit that pain, my childhood trauma. And from that place, you're finding yourself. Now, first it's surma. You're going deep. You're finding yourself in your darkness. Exactly. I have shame. I have fear. I have doubt. I don't know. But I'm becoming aware of how to process this. From that, misham, then you go into the light, and you notice. You start pushing. How do you know? You follow where the pain is no longer there. Wherever you feel the pain, that's where you're pushing back from. If it's in my heart, and I feel it in my heart. If it's here, I go for there. But back to this. So all the fear around this, anyone that's fear, it's a plain bluff. It's an Alzir's bluff. There's nothing there. It's the same spin, and it's time to get out from the low frequency. Just fogging up the brain. There's nothing like it's an audacity. Why would we even watch the news? Why would we even look at it? They're just selling dirty laundry, and the most they want high conscious minds to get trapped into it, because the more high conscious you are, instead of doing this, you're doing that. You're in low frequency. So we also know the Archoze. So we know that when there is everything has to have the yin yang. So there is the black, there's the white, there's the light, there's the dark. So if I see darkness, I know on the other side of that is light. If you see one corner in the world burning in fire and there is missiles flying, it means there's outbursts of power going on. It's a massive showdown. He's not in control anymore. He's just activated. A guy like Putin, he's sitting calmly. It doesn't even. It's not even a shred of his. He's just being fully. He's expressing his power, which is he was representing one of the Sarim, one of the Iron Sarim, a powerful one, because he's fearless. Now what's happening is that there's such dummies that he figured out, since he's a high conscience Sar, he figured out that they're sleeping. So he figured out that whoever screams the loudest is going to win, because who's going to stand up to you?
Is he smart? Is he high conscious?
1 second. Stay with it. He's high conscious more. He's a higher frequency than these burger phrases. He's a disciplined guy, and so is his whole nation. They have a core. That's their klippa. The klippa here is that the indulgence, greedy, verchazert, verklept, and that's it. He realizes who's gonna do what, God and who. That klippa, that energy. He looks at the energy. He sees what's going on. He sees where the mind is. It's all about some fakakta love. I don't even know what it is. Stam fakakt verdriet. Black Lives Matters. What? Who? And there's stam. But they're not conscious of that. It's just the real time energy playing out. That's the level of brains the energy has. That's the level of brains that consciousness has. That's the level of brains the Putin consciousness has and the Ukraine consciousness has. It's going to be two knuckleheads hitting each other. But he has a plan because he wants power. He's expressing himself. Now, once he activates, he's not in control, and we don't know. So you can look at it from this way, but really, we don't know how far this energy can expand before we get the message that there's massive oiras coming down, and we just need to open ourselves up to it. How do we know? Because missiles are exploding all over. Because there's power coming down. Now, this is not a threat.
I have a question.
1 second. This is not a threat. The Navi is not telling us that there's going to be wars and all that stuff to scare us. That's low frequency. If you still think so, then you're in low frequency. You're living in physical shtism. You're listening to the news. Everybody breathe. What the Nevi'im are telling us is that when you see those signs, when you're going to hear those sounds, when you're going to feel that thing, you're going to experience that. These are my footsteps. I'm coming. Not to hurt you, Chaz v'Shalom. I'm coming to take you. I'm waking you up, so pay attention. It's going to look like fireworks, it's going to look like missiles are flying, because that part in your brain that sees that needs to be activated to seeing this. To seeing it in high conscience. What does that look like? To have such a burning fire in your head, with clarity, with bina, which burns anything aside. Any thought, any negative thought. But you got to raise, you got to get up. Besides, it's extremely selfish. It's extremely selfish when we're living in such luxury, that we're just being unappreciative and crying. It's what we did in the Midbar. We had cattle. There was enough food. We want meat. What do you want meat? You have meat. No, but I have something else to worry about, because my makeup is nagging me. That's my existence. I exist in low frequency. So if you want meat, here you go. We give them meat in their teeth. Here you go, fresh. You want to be worried? I'll give you fear. I'll knock you out. You don't understand any other language. You're living over here in your domain, you got everything you need, and you're worrying about something coming up with some bubble mines over there, like 4,000 miles away. It's a Vanepelkeit here in Kap. I don't know if it's a Malik. Is it a Malik? A Malik is more. Yeah, it's a Malik standing on the other side of that. It's a Malik, Kaltuk. Whatever I see, I'm going back to. Yeah, I'm going back to this. Ashekarcha Baderet, which is, he came to us when finally things started going for us. That's the chutzpah of him. We just got out of Mitzrayim, barely catching our footing. 210 years of enslavement, thinking like a slave, low frequency, living in fear. A 5-year-old kid could beat a Yid Talangebur, beat him because we were like babies. So breathe. So to tune into that, so we're barely out. Krias Yamsuf is building up our, the belief and the confidence. Wow, but they're still in the back. Like maybe this is going to end. Maybe this is going to end. It's not going to last for long. I'm starting to worry. Then comes Matan Torah. Yeah, Matan Torah. So we're like, okay. Maybe this is real. I'm not sure what happened first, Egel or that. And then he comes right away and he starts antagonizing. Starts testing, cooling it off. That's their Malik. You're having a moment and then right away he's there. So this is number one. I'm not going to cut it. I don't believe in it. I'm just gonna. The first 20 minutes is that. That's it.
Can I ask my question?
Yes, you can ask a question. Please ask a question. Can you please ask a question?
Sure. So the question is, we need to know what's going on to be able to know that there is light coming, and we should be able to open ourselves to the light. So, in the old times there was a Novi. The Novi was telling us that bad things are coming or whatever, and the message was that open up to the light and see what is in front of you. So these days, the way to know it is probably by the news.
Wow. The news Novi.
So let's go. First of all, the bad things that are coming only exist on that channel. They're creating it. They're reporting it and they're creating it. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. Well, people are marching anti-Semitism. Afghanistan, so they're spinning their own mashigas. Because as long as you're in fear, you're under his auspices. Now, if you don't tune into it, then why don't you tune into this news? This is also news. What's pulling to that news? We need to know what's coming. This is what's coming. It's the right and the left. Tell me anything that was nischadash to you by listening to the news.
I knew there was a war going on in Ukraine and Russia.
I didn't watch the news, and I also know. And I saved myself all the drama and trauma.
I
There's
didn't
a
watch
war.
the news. Like I have the short color oil and whatever status.
Okay, Kol Olam is another low frequency thing. What
I
is he
agree.
reporting?
I agree. The question is, how should I know what's going on?
Good. This is how you know. I want you to pay attention where in your head you're feeling the pump and the desire to go to know that news. Feel it? It's right here, like in the back of your head, coming into the top, like buzzing up there. Can you feel it? It's a pulse. All right, I'm going fast, so so feel it in the center of the head, towards the back, the back. A white light, something in the middle of it. Anybody there? Yeah.
Feel it in my nose.
Okay. The nose, when the face shifts, when the consciousness shifts, the nose feels it. So, from that place, activate that to the desire to connect to oneness. Pulse that, reach with that. Have a pulse to learn high. Let's put it this way. Imagine there's a palace, and there's the secret codes as to how you can talk yourself into another reality, or you can talk yourself into winning a war. You can talk yourself into anything. Just like in low frequency, it's a sales pitch. Here in high frequency, you're talking yourself into. These books, these farm, these are high conscience secrets. With passwords, with coding, it's written with tremendous wisdom and fire. It was written by such lights that their bodies were they were barely bodies. They were just hovering above it, and the body was like puppets, like mannequins. They were moving the body the way they wanted it to go. It was a Merkava, they were hovering over it. Now they are revealing the secrets, and this is in plain sight. Look, anybody that's not from this consciousness can't understand this. Flash into that, from that place that you want to watch the news. It's right here in the back, above the, more 6 inches above the Kesher film.
Work on the part of being curious.
1 second. Being curious, it's a pulse. It's a pulse that pulses and receives energy. Now, if you want to pump into Kesser, you're going to receive high content energy. If you pump it into Nodedoh Hamelach, you're going to receive low content energy, and that's what pumps into your heart and then to your body, which is fear and anxiety. But if I pulse into high consciousness, I'm just talking myself out of it, and then I'm going to be pumping positive energy and flow, and everything calms down. What's going to be okay? Where are you living now? By knowing this, what is this? You're just spinning. So your energy is spinning, low frequency. But if you put in this high conscious stuff and you start throwing it into the machine, that's what starts spinning. Efer apara. So that answers the question. You want to say something else? You want to add something else? Okay.
The high consciousness of the Assad. Assad has high consciousness, I guess.
No, so not that it's high consciousness. That is the consciousness. What you're looking at is an energy that, so meaning like this, when you have a little bit of you're in a little bit of a spin, your heart starts pounding, you have anxiety, and it locks you up, because it's not your fuel, it's not your content. When you're at peace, you're at peace. You have no anxiety. You only have anxiety when you are being fed different content. When you're in your element, whatever your element is, if this wasn't your element, you wouldn't be able to be here. The fact that you're here is because this is your element, this is where you're at peace. So it's your element. A guy like him, his element is at this tempo. It's just power. I'm going to swallow the world. He has a belief system. That's why he has a koach. America has no belief system. It believes in just, drek.
They don't have a consciousness.
That's their consciousness. They have a low consciousness. It's a consciousness, but a low consciousness. He has a high consciousness. He has a more powerful consciousness, and he's going to see it play out.
And he's receiving it from us.
Now, not anymore. Now it's time for us to see all that, and let that guide you into a center where you have no worry.
But without us, there won't be a consciousness that he can have.
Until now,
He's
we
probably
needed.
yoining from us. No?
Yes, until now we needed that because it was training us. But now we don't need it anymore. We can live on our own supply.
It's like it's showing us.
Yes, it's waking you up to where
That's
you need
why
to be.
they can alles kann sich loshagen und losen so.
That's exactly what's going on. And it's the Kohen Nikmas Dam of the Chashafik. It's where the higher consciousness is now rising from within, so it's beating up on the lower consciousness. It's the Kohen Nikmas Dam of the Nikmas Dam of the Chashafik.
But that's real, the Kohen Nikmas.
Yeah.
They killed us, so many people.
Of course. What do you mean?
They killed.
Forget about killing us. Don't look at the people. That's that. Go to the consciousness. What have they done to the consciousness? How many years of suffering? How many years of anxiety because we were being fed through a different funnel, a different sinner? A sinner that language that we don't speak.
Because of that, that's
Exactly.
We are because of that. Yeah, because we are now sitting over it, trying to clean up what they did.
Correct, but also what they did is what got us in here.
Correct.
Okay, so now in here, so Nikmas Dam Avadech LaShafach. Now automatically there's going to be chaos because we are expanding now. We're here, we're pushed in, and now expansion. So there's the moment of the Tippa, the Chachma, then there's Pekida, and then it opens up from there.
You better get to Peter now.
Is that?
Gotta get done with this.
Yes.
Which parsha this week?
Vayikra.
Also the Kabunas. I have no clue what the Kabunas mean.
Okay, good ones. Is this the Vasa? So the Karbonas, once again, it's a way of communicating. It's a way of transferring energy up to sending. Really, that carbon is the person that brings it, because energetically he did something. He did a pgam, so now the tempo is, instead of running at 100, it's only running at 50. Okay. So he can't. There's an expansion. There's oils coming down that can come through. So by bringing the carbon, you have the right kavana and the blood and the whole thing. So you open up, you clean that channel, and you open it up. That's the karbanas. But as they were bringing the karbanas, they were going through a proper ceremony. It was a process. It was a serious process. I'm assuming they may have passed out too. In ecstasy or whatever. Einik.
So what was the desires to do something that they had to think if they were living such a high conscious?
No.
Why didn't that, why wasn't after the umkehren there?
Was there a Maruga found?
Yeah.
So you can look at it. You can look at it in many ways. From the place that we're going to look at it now is because it had to wake us up. Remember that by Matan Torah, the Eibishter said, and then we said stop. We couldn't handle it. We wanted Moshe to speak. So that everything has a reverberation, and then the Egel it pulled us down. So there was a darkness that we had to go there too, and bring awareness. It's part of sitting at the table. It's part of sitting at the table.
Okay.
Like this. Yep.
What's our requirement today's days?
So we have tefillah. We have tefillah. Davening. When you say it, and you have the mind, because we are already in a higher place. We're already in the mind. We're already dealing with Moshe. We don't need to physically bring it. You can do it over here. There's the Mishkan never. It's still there. The Mishkan is still there. We just dropped in consciousness. And this consciousness, it's not there anymore. Beis Hamikdash. And then the second Beis Hamikdash, but which was a lower, it wasn't as the first one. But Chassidus tells us clearly that the Mishkan is still here. It's in your mind, and as you clear your machshavas, the more pure your machshavas is, you can activate that to see a Mishkan, which means receiving and living from a place of harmony and vekas. So once again, back to that. That's the map as to how you get to see it, how you get to see higher conscience. That desire that pulls you to lower, that's here to wake you up to the higher. Yeah, so try it. Now, Purim is a story as follows. So we have. Everybody breathe. The same thing is with Peter, the same spiel. From this angle, Homan is Resh's Goyim Mamalik. He's from Mamalik. So the first, they're higher than the Midas. They're pretty high. Hamina Eitz. Then other Marishan Eitz from the Eitz Adas. It says Hamina Eitz from Haman. So Haman Manotayim Minayin, Hamina Eitz. Hamina Eitz. Which means that he's up there. He has he's triggering us above it's above the earth. I'm sorry, it's triggering us earth. Yeah, right here. Yeah, right by the kesher. It has to be there because in this body, in this physical, in this consciousness, we needed that. That's gonna. What else is going to hold? What is something that holds space for das? What else is going to represent it on the other side? So it's Amalek. It says that's how we know how to find high conscious das. You follow? Okay. Everything has an umazeh because we can only see it from Machanayim. Right? I can't see this consciousness from the face. It's too much light. Too much light means that maybe we're going a little too fast. Right? Maybe it's a little too high. We should go slow. That means too much light. So we're figuring it out from the other side. From my pain, I know how to climb out. So there's levels of pain, and then I go until I find myself on the other side. And I don't need the pain anymore. But that only happens the minute you start realizing that the pain is not here to keep me a victim. The pain is here to raise me up to the other side, to bring me out to the other side. Once you're able to do that, because you realize that staying bakakt and staying in victimhood is just going to keep you there, and that is low frequency. That's when I eat low frequency food and listen to low frequency news. That's how I have a problem. My father, my mother, and okay, get over it. Boom, rise up. But what's going to happen if you forgive yourself and you move on? What's going to happen? It feels cozy and warm and sitting in the wet diaper. Okay, so now there's enough awareness that you know you're sitting in a wet diaper. Now sit in your wet diaper. It's not like you're in a deep sleep anymore. I'm sorry, I'm going to ruin it. Or whatever work you're doing is going to ruin it. whatever work you're doing is going to ruin. Being mindful is going to ruin it for you. So good, you're ruined.
Damage for life.
Huh?
No, not life.
So now,
So the pain brings you to the light.
Weisz, we gaan nog dan. Die moet ik mijn vader.
Dynamics for life.
No.
It's for life. It's not
One second. You were by.
So now, Hamelach is here. He's the racist. He's at the highest level, and he's meeting me right at the G spot, right where it hurts, because that is my sore spot. Yeah, listen, I'm sorry. There's a high consciousness. There's a G spot too. So if you use it in high consciousness, bam, you create nuclear. So tzaddikim want to be Nodedoh. That's all they did all day. They want to inspire me, sing me a song. That's all they did. Like trigger me, get me hot. And then this is what they did. What happened? What happened when they were singing? You have 10,000 people singing. What do you think happens to a head like this? People screaming. I forget it. So the word is. So, huh? What are you talking about? Why is really?
He meets you by the top.
So Hamelach is right there. He's racist going Hamelach. He gets me cold. I put it down in myself and I start going down. Whatever it is, any type of confusion you have during the day, that's Hamelach. That is a trigger where you need to activate your das from. By how do you do that?
From the actual trigger.
From the trigger, but how do you do that? By taking anything that comes at you and you penetrate through it, do pekida, you penetrate it into the light. Like, where is the lesson in this? Where is the lesson in this? Deeper, deeper, deeper. Until it's going to stop coming, because once Choshech realizes that you just keep, a skafi and a sapche, you're flipping him over, he stops coming. So then when he goes away, because he doesn't come easy, he realizes that you're successful. When he goes away, then what happens? He ceases to exist. Because he can't live without you. He needs to come and antagonize you. 1 second. That is Yibolam Obisal Netzach until now, when he can, and he kept coming back. Because there was that much soup in the pot. Right now the soup was already was cracked. Because too much light came in, the truth came in. And that is, go. Remind me, I want to say about the needle and the elephant, go. Yeah?
Oh, like the lesson, you're saying, like, go in, where's the lesson in that? Where's the lesson? What if, where the lesson is very...
painful.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
Good. So that's why we have this month.
So,
That's why we have this month.
What?
I'm getting them. Don't worry, I'm getting there.
Look from all sides now.
That's why because the whole Purim thing goes in that Balayla he Nodedoh Hamelach. The king woke up. What does that mean? He woke up.
Consciousness.
Exactly. Because there was such a in order to trigger everything, the higher has to fall to the lower. The higher shows up to the lowest. The higher I am, the lower I'm going to go. Because I meet that level of power up has to meet that level of power down. Because everything is umazeh.
So,
En deze wil ik geven.
let's have finished.
Deze wil ik
So as far as you go away, right? Guys, the hecher, be this nidrige, right?
No.
I have a little more so.
Elaborate.
So
As much as you push in, it goes up, right? And then it comes down.
yeah.
The more stronger the light is, the more it shines deeper.
Very good.
Stronger the light, the deeper it
Shine
is.
slower.
I feel about Stush, Astura. Tzaddik is so big that he shines into the Stush, Astura.
But it shows up as choshech, but that's why what you're saying is a stalkers. Now we understand why the Zohar calls it a stalky kitchubiri.
The higher you go, the bigger the
Because he
impact.
goes back, so he goes
Bigger
back, he
the
goes
impact.
deeper.
En mijn is naar de
Good.
goedje gezogen het light. Is the light.
What is holding the light? We are here in Dacharan, we're in the low consciousness. So what is holding that? No, okay, let's put it like this: the more pressure, the more power, the more pressure. Okay? The more lower we are, the more he has to press. Again, the lower we go, in other words, if we fall, that means that there's not that he takes away the light. He has to shine more light. He has to go higher. In order to catch, if let's say if we're at number 10, so we're meeting right at 10. If I go to 9, he doesn't come closer. The light gets stronger, which means he goes into a higher consciousness. As we drop, the consciousness gets higher and higher. We're going to do it again.
As we drop or as we go up?
Yeah, why is he not
Well,
coming
that's
closer?
the
Why
we
is he
drop. We're dealing here with something that is chesed, mula chesed. He's full of compassion, full of love. There is no such thing as you did me wrong, I'm going to get even with you. That's only in low frequency. It doesn't exist in high frequency. He doesn't tritz. He's just here. It's a father that has absolute pouring mercy. Okay? The lower I go, the lower we go, he doesn't come into the sandbox to play with me like games. Oh, you did it, I did it. He's like, okay, I need to go save him now. So if I drop to 8, then he goes to 11. If I drop to 9, he goes to 11. Because he has to, 11 means he turns the heat up more. There's more count because I have to reach deeper, I have to put more light.
Okay, let's make a number where we have
No?
to be. I think that Moshe, let's make a number where we have to be. I think that's how everybody's gonna understand it. Let's say we have to be at 10. Let's make a number so
we
everybody
have to
understand.
be, 10 is the highest,
Okay,
and
so
1
let's,
is the
let's go with
lowest.
numbers so you understand.
10
Okay.
is the highest, and 1 is the
We
lowest.
drop to 8.
Okay.
So if I drop to 8, how am I going to this? 1 second. Listen to this. Yeah, good. Somebody's in the water drowning. Okay? He's 10 feet. The deeper he drowns, I have to release now 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 feet.
Yeah.
I have to release more rope.
Wow.
What does that look like in light? In light means he goes higher, he turns up more. He has to give me more shefa, more shefa, more shefa. It's not tritz. Oh, es ist zurückgegangen, jetzt gehst du Chappen machen. Sie gehen weg, glaub ich, no. It's tati, it's full of
But
rachim.
saying what the thing is that became Mashiach.
Wait.
The way it shows up is in pain.
Wait. Depends how you want to receive it. How do you like it? You like it like that, or you like it like that?
Cream said like a cream.
Do you like it? How do you like it? If you like it rough, you're gonna get it with pain. But we're trained to like it in pain because that's how we were trained.
So we have
We were broken into
We
that.
survive.
Good, fine. So let's go to that now. Now, what happens is that as we keep dropping, there's more light. Why do we keep dropping? So why go through the pain? Because he's so compassionate and he's so infinite that he wants to take us up higher and higher. So he's pushing us to the limit until we'll be able to, because it's done with chesed. If it wasn't done with chesed, you would just wake up and like, explode, like Matan Torah. Whoa, it's too much. I can't process this. You know who said that? We said it. It's taken us 6,000 years to catch the point. In time, in Zman, because we're that fragmented. What should take 1 second, it's taken us 6,000 years because we're such an ego. I have so many things to work out before I let go. Okay? So because it's done with, but he wanted it that way, because he wanted something that has this type of way of thinking and communicating to chap his godless. To see him, to be able to be translucent, to be here and there at the same time.
Because we can look at it.
Because we can look at him, because by design, because he wanted something that sees itself as a separation to see him. He wanted to see himself from this place, rather than being like this, which is pointless. It's like me before my name. Like Hasidus uses the mashal. The name is only relevant as far as you're concerned. If I'm on an island alone, I don't need a name. So who am I without my name? Close your eyes. Who are you without your name? Your name is, I judge you this way, I judge him this way, I show up like this, I show up like that. Take away your name. Go inside. Feel yourself. Feel the energy in the stomach. Feel the energy moving. Feel your compassion. Feel the judgments. Feel where you're tight. So, as it drops, it goes higher. So there's more light. Now, Purim was Kabbalah Satorah B'Pnimius. We accept the Torah inside. The first Matan Torah, and then Purim was the second.
Because we elevated ourselves.
Because we were in such a physical, and we were in such a physical consciousness. We were so grounded that we were ready to receive Pnimius. We were ready to. Before that, we were just in the Shumas. We weren't present. But here, we were already, Charbon Bias. We were ready to receive Pnimius HaTorah because we had that level of awakening in physical world. So, Balayla Hu Nodedoh Hamelach, what woke up the king from sleeping? Because remember something, as we are dropping consciousness, that also means there's a lot of movement, guys. As we were dropping consciousness, which means that we weren't aware of the light that was coming into the world, the oil that was coming into the world. We weren't processing it like that, which means that the consciousness was processed in a low frequency. So it's almost like the further he went, the less communicative we were. We went into physical. We had real fears of what's going to happen tomorrow. Like, that's stupid. I was really worried about what's going to happen. So that means that the Melech, so to speak, went into a sleep because our consciousness, we're talking about garbage, low frequency. So he went, it kept going. But what happened is that we got to a point where a needle can go through metal. A needle so thin, and it's so that it can go right through it. That's the matzah we were in. There was such a restriction. There was so much. We were so disconnected, and Haman wanted to finish it, which means that we would never have this connection again. There would never be a consciousness in Welt that's going to be able to communicate on this level, which makes him king. Because the only people competing with him is us. Nobody else cares that it is cooled off tomorrow. Whatever. It's not, doesn't, fine, no, he's going to listen to another Tony Robbins inspiration and then he's back. But
it's only us.
But we are the ones that is really, but the only, you have to remember another thing is that as smart as he is, with his Amulaiki, with his Kalkai, he's only as strong as we shine on him. He would like us to believe that it's like this. I have fear and I'm under him and I'm but really it's like that, which means that his only if he takes us out, he's out too.
He can't exist.
He can't exist. He's only holding. He's our shadow. It's the Am Kasher of shadow. That's besides the point. That's the Purim spiel. It's all just again to bring your awareness. You with me? Or was another one? Stimmt? That's the Purim spiel.
So he's risking his own existence?
He's not in existence. He's just here to wake you up. He's here so you become aware. From the Kalkat, go back to the other side. Then you find your Das Elyon. That's where you find yourself.
So
that's an exact opposite trigger to pick up Am Kasher.
You're talking about Hamelach.
Yes.
So what happened Balai? So we woke up, why?
He woke
so
up.
The Melech woke up, so to speak, which means that it went up, it busted. Why? Because we were in such a point of absolute restriction that it caused a moment of Mesiras Nefesh, which means that it went to higher than Seder Shtalshelis. Which means as follows: if I give a quarter and I receive, and I do good and I get back. So this is all in Seder Shtalshelis. I tell you, I like you. You tell me I like you back. Buy me this, I buy you that. Right? We're in a Shtalshelis. But if we want to go into a place that's higher than a Shtalshelis, because really Seder Shtalshelis, chain of events are only created for us to climb the ladder up, not to pull me down. All right. So in order to do something extraordinary, I gotta go into Mesiris Nefesh, which means I gotta get out of my body. My body limitations, my nefesh tells me that doing 3, 4, 5 is perfect. So I can't bust out. I can't break out of my metal. In order for me to break out of my cage, I have to go 7, 8, 9, 10 Mesiris Nefesh, which means if I wake up and I'm spinning, overpower that and use that koich to go do something positive. That's Mesiris Nefesh. And if you do that, you will break the cycle. It's called iskafi and asabcha. Iskafi means I'm holding back, and as I'm holding back, I'm doing asabcha, I'm flipping it over into light. Because really, this is just a block of energy that is fanepling. The esanusionis that Avrum gesehen. Different machshuvas that came in that should distract him. Different machshuvas that come into you that distract you. But once you see through it, it's not there anymore. It can't exist. It can't exist. What's that?
You need the das to see through it.
Yeah, so if you learn the high conscious stuff, you get the das to see through it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Without the das to see through it, you can't even get the
Of course you need the das. Yes, you need the das.
Once you keep on doing it, it kicks in a second.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And if
the
you eat
way by
mindful,
getting a das, by doing it.
What if
Eat normal stuff, you eat this, you know. Drink your shit.
so, where naam zit er that first of all, that Moshe Rabbeinu Ulu Shulam Lo Yide Ishes Kvirusay V'hi V'hu Alpi Omer Shesh Pashtusa De Moshe B'chol Doner, that we don't know. Okay. We covered nice stuff in Purim. We're going to open it again, but Zrat Hashem. Okay. So nobody knows this because there is a spashtus of Moshe, of that consciousness and a Yeda generation, which is Das. The fact that we can be here in physical Welt, in this low frequency, in this consciousness, to deal with money and pain and all whatever you're dealing with, and still be able to process this, that is the consciousness of Moshe. This is what we have in our Das. Kesher Shel Tefillin. That's where that thing pulses from. But is that in the beginning Moshe who ganas ba'adam ha'Yisraeli? The begin of the consciousness that's called Moshe, which is Das, is hidden in each and every Yid. Israeli, which is the name of the consciousness, called Israeli. Israel. You don't know where he's hidden. Because really, he is buried in each and every one of us. Go look for him and find him. Like somebody, you will find the das of Moshe, somebody that has the humility and the surrender, like a tool, like a cliff. The enim is gone. Guy's a cliff, eh? A tool. Okay. If somebody has guys, somebody holds himself, the ego kicks in. It's like over the zar because you're validating a false god. If you have fear, if you deal with that, then you're validating a false god. Because our God has no fear. Our God is in the Emunah where you are surrendered. That's where you will find your programmer. That's how you will find your program. The minute you start getting out of this or that, you're bowing down to the false god, a false idol. If you have fears or confusion, you are trapped in a different thing. Now there's levels of it. Shalosh klippis apneis, the lowest. Okay. When you are here, you're not in das beginnes Moshe. That's not where it's at. You know the base poet they used to the way they serve the base poet is that reflect the whole smile in the front for them. So that's what your fears smell like. Any type of confusion. Now, prati, I don't know. We have to see how it plays out. We have to see how it plays out. How does that level of pain? What happens here? So you know what? You can't get more than what you can handle, and you're getting exactly what you need in order to define yourself. It has to be that way. Otherwise,
Is for sure this is what I have to go through?
listen. We can. 1 second. First let's process this. It's if it's coming my way, then there's an existence within me. There is a void within me. There's something that and it's going till it pushes, and then you can start pushing back. Now I don't know what that looks like. You have to find it. So you have to go with it. Then maybe a process, because in this consciousness it's time. In a higher consciousness, it could be processed already. It for sure did. It's just trickling down. It's just taking time. So the different methods: breathing, other types of stuff, like l'chaim or other types of l'chaim that can get you to see what's going on over there. So you can bring it. You can break out of this shell. Okay. Let's lim shadas gonas et zumishi shof bein avu menaged ve hapach beis sporish over the zar shkoms ge kill over the zar. Ich ine ma shofu menaged da bezav af khamam sham adas mit the gonas imen. This is part of Purim. He's going to explain this is the difference between other aleph and other beis. V'hine. Okay, so this is what he's saying, that the Haman Rasha didn't know. He thought that our das died on other. Nazal in the V'zeh Haman Rasha sover shekivin shebezayim ba'adam nes Moshe. And the 7th day of Adar, of Aleph Dor, that consciousness went lights out. You think that millennium was a problem? Zion Adar was lights out. Our program went down. It was frightening. But exactly when he went down, he went back on. He just went in. He went to zero, and he came back into his gun is within us.
Like a generator. Before he goes on,
yes.
He goes off.
And then he goes out. And then it is. Now, he's going to explain how this works, and it's a beautiful process. And we're in the process right now. Right now, Chodesh Adar, other base. This is where it's happening. We got to say way more l'chaim if you're going to want to process this the right way.
Gotta do some medicine for this.
What? Everything for them.
So you got to, yeah, definitely.
Which I have the medicine, you got the medicine.
Moshe, you really want to go there?
I want to tell us something.
Okay, Shekim Shebezayin Ba'ad Mes Moshe Bechinas Hadas V'nishari Yisrael B'Stalkus Bechinas Hadas Chaz V'Sholem. Yeah, I think it's confirmed. V'nishari Yisrael B'Stalkus Bechinas Hadas. The Yidden were left with his talk. There was no das. Chaz V'Sholem. V'azay Yochalam. That's when Huma can take you over. Now watch this. When Moshe passed away, when he died, in Zion Adar, there was a moment that lights were out, that the program went down completely. When that happened, okay? If there's no past and no future, if everything is happening in the present moment, then it's happening right now. The moment of shock that you're experiencing, where you're having a lapse of time, where you're not connected, that is the moment that he's dying. It's not happening here. It's not happening like this. It's happening like this. Your struggle is the second that he dies. It's the second that you're off the grid. That's where you're disconnected. That's when he grabs you. Because when you're connected, he can't hold you. He can only exist in low frequency, and that's the second. So that's when Haman decided to attack. He's like, I'm coming in. This is when I'm going to finish him off. Right now, in this moment, in the moment that you're walking out there, and it's like I'm waking up and I have my pelvic pain is back. That's when he's trying to grab you. You're disconnected. That's exactly when he's trying to grab you. What are you talking about? I have real pain. Okay, I'm sorry to let you know that I guess you have a high conscience, because that's abnormal pain. And the fact that you're dealing with it, and it's coming down your pipeline, that means that you have such a level of Yitzchak Avinu in there that can hold space for Esav. That no matter what happens, it's like there must be a good in this also. I'm holding space because I am that much irrelevant. I have that much bittul and that much hado. It's a heavy duty job, but it takes a crazy normal person to do it. And you know what? Came to the right training. No names. The machine is on. So the vart is not that we have a problem with it. Regardless, we have no issues. It's a level of presence. Right? Then we can look at anything stuff that the Taka shouldn't hear, because there's some stuff that in the Mishkan that's only in the Azara, and then there's different levels. Can you stop already? Avaloi yada shebezayin ba'adar noilet Moshe. Ratzalam should take it from miyat kashemes hu noilet. In and out. In and out. That means right there, as you're dropping, you can turn on the lights immediately. Das connection. Mekivin shonisha etz l'Yisrael kama shoreis pashtusa. Befrat shoy sham kama tzedikim and Mordechai bavada hoya das mizgala yadim. Mordechai was there too, and he was holding. As the lights went out, he was holding. Mordechai is another consciousness. Shev Binyamin, Binyamin is the atar of the Yisod. He hangs out in the most dangerous places. The plumber that's fixing a boiler, that's Binyamin right there. He's going to bring in Eibishter right there. It's us. Yeah, yes, out there in the front. 2022. 2022 right there. That's where Binyamin is going. That's Mordechai. He's holding Das over there also. In the Atara. And you're that much more activated because the Atara is the most sensitive part. It's full of sensors. The Atara is the crown on your sexual organ. So, Eshchal Ater is Bala, which is we're going to get into a place that we're going to go, Keser is going to go upward and we're going to have an Atara in our head, which means that our moichin is going to be so triggered and so open and so raw that anywhere you go and anything you experience, any income, you're going to immediately fire up high consciousness. You're going to immediately penetrate through that thick wall of choshech, of confusion, no matter where it's at. In the lowest places. In my biggest pain, that's where Binyamin is hiding out. And Binyamin was a lefty. So he caught everybody off guard.
That's good.
Okay, exactly. That's how the Belegish Begiva, they were killed 12,000, then whatever 18,000. They couldn't deal with him. They're coming with a source and they're chopping him from the other side. Like, that's not fair. We're righties. Like, okay, go home. Vini Amar Razal. Ein ben Adarish la Adar Sheni Elu Kriyas HaMegillah Matanas Lavyanim Bavad. The difference between Adarish and Adar Sheni is only Matanas Lavyanim and Megillah, which means that an Adarishan, it was right now it's already Adarishan in a sense is higher than Adar Sheni, because Adar Sheni we already have in a slapshus of Megillah Matanas Lavyanim, but Adarishan there is not even that. It's everything. It's full of Torah. But that was in the Koyach. Now we're going in the Poil. So we want to act out, because if you stay there, it's wild. You're suffocating. So Adar Sheni is where you act out. It's already Achizah. We're bringing it out, the Koyach. We have an Iberishan and we have an Ibersheni. That happens when you're still in your mother's womb, which is when you are like Adarishan, like when you're in a state that you're going through a process and you have no clue what's flying. You're like, why? Like, okay, you're still in your mother's womb. וגם שם יש אימא בכינס אלוקוס, כמו שאמר רז"ל, נר דולק הראש בצופה מה בסוף עולם הצופה. ומלמד מויסה כל התורה כולה. Even in the mother's womb, the child has a candle on his head, and he's able to see from one end wall to the other, which means that there is no blockages. He sees clearly, connected all the way. Keser connected clearly. and they're teaching him Torah. What does that mean? What does that mean on every level? That even in your biggest struggle, not even, in your biggest struggle is where you have a candle on top of your head and you're able to see from one end to the other. You have the koyach to see through because you're that triggered. You're that pushed, so you're that. Amalek is pressing that hard. You're like, what? I have no choice but to shoot right back at him. And he's learning Torah.
What if what I'm seeing doesn't make sense?
Good. That's why we have put him Adalayada. We can tap into what doesn't make sense and manifest and make it happen. I know there's a spin on everything. But now we have to act it out. Let's see. I think we have the Koyach Harabim. Let's see. Why don't you work out a plan, A, B, C, and D, and let's push it. Let's see what happens. I'll drive the tank.
It needs a plan.
But Tachbilas are saying Muhammad. You have to, let's get smart. Haman is not sleeping. He's triggering you that you have to get smart. You know how he's sleeping? Because look at the pain that's coming down.
Isn't it Hashem's plan?
Yeah, Hashem's plan to trigger me into my map, to find my sweet spot. Okay? Yes, for my enemies I become smart. Malan was okay. When you come into the world, when you come into whatever you are, physical, he's still considered a cotton. The minute you are born, you consider a cotton until you are 13 years of age, and one day, that's when he becomes a man. Okay, even though that he already reached like small sins, he's already conscious, he knows something until the age of 13. Before 13 of age in consciousness, you're a klum. I don't care how smart you are, until the age of 13, you're not triggering that level of damage when you're doing it. You're just not triggering. You're just not triggering it. If he can be mekadosh, he still does not have, no matter how smart you are, if you're that smart, then your level of consciousness of das is that higher that you need to reach. You need 13 years. Even though there are small conscious that are charifim meflogim b'Torah, it's not a true beginnis hadas. Ad sheniches leklal shnayim shalom the gadlusay, v'zeh nikir gadlus edition. At the age of 13, you're in gadlus edition. Sit over here because he's just coming in now, and I don't want to deal with the whole spiel. You've already been grounded.
I'm trying to.
Well, she grounded you.
No.
You came running back real fast. The Ikir Das, my program is meant to use so I can be meyachet kitchabrich are my midas. What are my midas? Any type of pain you're going through is triggering your midas. What else is hurting you? When I'm feeling pain, I have fear. What is it triggering in me? A lack of balance. It's all my midas. It's just showing up like that. It's because I'm in moichen de katnas. I'm in low frequency, so they have to talk my language. Unkan klep verstaat. Kunnen ze get one klep? Why? Because that consciousness too, that needs klep, also needs to see that Hashem Enod Mavade. This consciousness too needs to understand Enod Mavade. Otherwise, it won't be Enod Mavade. There will still be a consciousness that does not think that that's Mavade. There's something else going on. Vaccine has the power. So we have to get to that whole thing. I thought it was really he's coming. Wow. So we get to, it's really, it's very, very powerful where the intention for the shiur was like almost like a Purim spiel. I was like, this Purim. And it's part of the Purim spiel. Right? Today everybody came late. It was just like a whole Piramspiel.
There's no parking today.
There's no parking, whatever it was. It's part of the Piramspiel.
Yankee Brian.
And if you find parking, it's also a spiel.
So bekitzer amaisa. So the ganze job is to take my midas, to take my fears, and connect it with Shechina. We are Shechina. We are Malchus. Malchus is Shechina, which is you're the vessel here, connecting anything that's happening. Stop taking it so personal. It's not you. It's just a koyach, and then there's another koyach over here, and just bring it together. You just have the das. That's the whole spiel is the das. You have all the mechanics and all the machinery, but without the brain, there's nothing there. You have the fastest car. You take out the chip, it's out. So we are the das. So we have kitchabrichi, which is the midas, which is my struggle and my problems that I'm experiencing, and shchinte is the malchus, which is baruch shem kavod malchus eloheinu. It's that thing that's able to process this in physical time. That's shchinte. The only thing bringing it together is my das.
So it could be.
One second. Let me do one more spin, one more turn on it.
Again.
The only thing that brings it together is the das, which is my connection, where I'm able to. Das means iskashers, which means the same way I don't have to explain to you. You know your house; it's just a part of you. You know the color toothbrush your mother uses if you live home, or you know the color toothbrush your wife uses if you leave.
I know.
Okay, so but you'd be surprised. There are certain things that you naturally know.
That's a problem.
It's like driving a car.
No, he knows. Fine. So whatever it is, you know the linen in your house. It's just something that you know. Driving a car, exactly. It's becoming one with it. That is das. So if I have my problem, I spin, and then there is something that's here spinning because he can't figure out that super. Because kitchabrich is the masculine. He just drills. He goes.
Yeah.
Shechina she's the one that softens it. Like, whoa, chill, easy. It's like Rachel Mavakal Banei. Like, hello, he's a little kindle. They're very fragile. Why are you drilling? So it inspires Kitchabrichi to slow down, so to speak, which is exactly what you're doing in time and low consciousness, where your spin is coming. You're like, hello, how much? Okay. You're bringing awareness to it. That's called Eine Meshoitetes. That's Eine Tzadikim. The way it communicates here in Welt, how does the Eibishter look? What do you mean? What does he look? Where does he look? He sees the Shamayim looks. He has different sets of eyes. First and most old is the Nesher. He watches, he reports back to him everything from up above. That's his F-15s. He sees everything. Then you have the Einit Tzadikim, the righteous people, which are delivering back to him the message, hello, the temperature is too hot over here. Because that's his expression. He's like, okay, Kitchabrich is drilling. And the tzaddik is like, okay, bruchat, slochas, adzangit, and he responds to it. Nimlachem tzaddikim.
Tzaddikim is like the feminine part.
The Shechina, of course. Yes. And some of them are from the masculine too. That's be wary. So
We need to give in to the das.
1 second. What do you mean to give in to the das? Well, let me finish. I think it's going to give you the answer. Hold the question, because I may lose track.
Can we really tell Hashem to stop?
Yes. Not tell him. Once you stop communicating with him, tritz, when you tell him stop, he's like, stop! Oh, nicht that. But if you're like, hello, Hashem.
Was I can't handle it anymore?
No,
I
not
got
that.
it.
Like, send them
I
back.
got a message?
Talk to him his language.
Mhm.
Yes, I got the message. I see you now. I'm connecting to you now. Right? Don't take everything as a threat. Don't stop taking it so personal. So the das is what what?
It is personal.
Correct, but it's not you. Don't take it personal. Like, hello, how are you doing this to me? Like, okay, there's too much gevuras over here. How am I going to soften this? So das is what brings the consciousness together. It brings the awarenesses together when he's connecting, because I'm aware of it. Before that, it's in sleep. It's not sleep. It's not living in consciousness. Das brings it into consciousness, which is like, I'm experiencing this right now. Okay, as soon as you say experiencing, it touched. Zzz, and it can let go. Feel it, see it. What does that do? If I can finally see where I'm tight, I can release. Before that, I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not. I'm happy. I'm happy. I don't even know. I'm numb. I don't even know where I'm not flowing. But once you can get yourself into a feeling, and then you feel it, like, let go of the, oh, I can do this. Taka, I was so tense. Relax. When you relax, you can receive the tzir. Remember, talked about the tzir. Whatever my tzelem is, that's what I'm going to be flashed. So the das is what brings it together. So until the age of 13, the das is not strong enough. Go ahead, Matthew, you want to ask?
What if we're, when something comes into the das, maybe it's just resistance, like maybe we start thinking we have to act on what's coming into the das. Is that?
Or you can pinpoint what's coming into the das.
Well,
I'm pinpointing. There's different confusions. There's different stuff going on, and it's like. Does this mean in my
good.
head?
I got it.
Does this feeling mean that I have to do this and this and this?
Listen. It's a maze. You know how a snake walks.
Yeah.
Sometimes his head is touching his tail, he's eating his own tail. Yeah. Okay. You can look your problems. I'm not going to give the name because I don't want to ruin it for you, because you think you asked a good question. So I know we worked on it, so I'm going to tell you after that the word, what we call it. But first I want to give it to you because it's Purim. I'm going to do it Purim Day. So you are processing your problems like the Nachash. I have 7 problems to deal with. I need to figure this out. But hello, what do you mean let go of it? I can't let go of it. I have real issues. I need to really deal with this. But it's not possible for me to figure this out. It's way too much. How do I overcome this? I need this amount of flow, and I need that amount of this, siyata d'shmaya, and I need this amount of just to get rid of this mashigas. Right? So how do I even deal with this? It's called Mentes Sha'ar 49 levels of spin. Each level has 10 in it. You do the math. You will never finish. Because as you figure this out, there's another combination, another combination. It's called inner childhood. You're never going to finish processing Tati and Mommy, your sisters, your brothers, your molester, and the Rebbe, and the teacher, and the school teacher, and the system, and the community. There's Mentes levels of 49 levels of confusion. Each level has 10, and it's a parsha for its own. There's people who do a lot for a lifetime. They make a living, millionaires, of helping you process Mentes Shara spin. Motivational speech, and then he hits you from here, then he hits you with a dart, then he hits you like that. And there's you're not screaming loud enough. You need to scream much louder. And then there is the level where you say nothing. Now you hold it. Then there's one thing that we have that nobody else has. Because all that you see, Mentes, the 49 levels, are just to trigger the 50th level for you that nobody else has. How do you do the 50th level? Like he said before, go into the class, stop processing the problem. Because it's so hard and so difficult, you can finally say, this is above my pay grade. I'm just going to surrender to, like, everything is good.
Surrender. Tap into it.
Surrender not to fear, to awe.
Yeah. Surrender to heart. Not
Yes.
Nicht aufgeben, integreren.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ja, nicht aufgeben.
Exactly. Side.
More powerful than what I said.
For me, it was more.
No, great.
Okay, Weisz will do it. Ich rede das mit Gunnisch. Doet dat ein blip and it's like so powerful. I mean, what type of a trigger is that? That's not even a knowledge. That's like a Yiddish pinch.
Validation?
Ever of non-validation?
No.
So then why did he trigger for you to give him validation? I didn't trigger. I was Gunnisch got that. Tell me, what's the taki gesagt? Tell me what he said. What's the difference in intergame and outgame?
Overgeben is in Yiddish, and intergame is surrender.
It's about the Yiddish. So meaning I'm surrendering like a man? Or I'm not going to have Yiddish, I'm just surrendering.
You said surrendering, everything is good.
Fine. Surrendering that everything is good, yes. Yeah. Yeah, good.
Everything is just good. I can't process this.
Yeah,
Everything is good.
You made your point.
I don't know, I'm just confused.
Lekker, wat vinden we het
I once saw there was a great commercial for the GPS.
Yeah.
I can't find it, I'm looking for it, it's such a good commercial. Where they're in the midway, and hij draait zich rechts, and hij lookt, God said to go to the right, God said to go to the left. And they're like, you screwed us. Like, what's going? You know where we're going? He's like, I'm going where he's telling us to go. So there's a lot of anger.
Not so much, enough talking. Who says I'm standing?
There's a lot of anger, and that's where the GPS comes into play. So I get to that.
Zo, ja, het is zaad.
Ja, dat is hem.
Talking, no meaning.
Wat te zeggen? Wist je standen van een ding?
Nein.
Daarom is het, ik speel es noch.
Usually spielst du es nicht. Ich denke nicht, der letzte Mal, dass du es gespielt.
Ze zijn het. Okay, we say that as mask. So, du bist ja in dem Stickel, so sag ich dann. Okay. Gene, afbische beschnasse die man echt so klar godless. Wir kommen mit einem einzigen godless am Midi. Soll ich heute von Nefel man das geschäbe hier pot zade gekommen. Even though that you got the godless amiti, it keeps falling down. Das is something that grows, and then it expands, and then it busts, and it starts off again. The same thing happened to Moshe. Back to zero.
Stretches.
It goes, and it goes, and it stretches, and then it pops. This second godless is not shalom, it's not completed. We constantly have to go back to Das Sheni.
Where is that shine?
A second. Das Sheni is what you're experiencing right now. Could be a Das Sheni moment.
What is plain das?
Plain Das is when you were asleep. Up until when you woke up. Up until you said that I only have high conscious thought. I can't relate to low conscious thought.
That wasn't even das. That wasn't conscious.
That was godless. That was Das Hirschen. That was a person sleeping. That's godless Hirschen. When I'm not aware, when I'm still spinning, when I'm still in pain, I'm still in godless Hirschen. When I'm becoming aware of it, that's godless Sheni. What's the pain? Okay, you're in the process of a transformation. So you're aware, but as you're aware, now you still need to go. You're growing, and then we die.
And how many dasas are there?
Good question. And that's where I'm taking you.
Only die once?
60 das per second.
On every consciousness, you keep rebirthing another consciousness.
Wow. That's the problem.
Ego death.
Okay, exactly.
Talk about ego that.
Now it makes sense.
Well,
Right, there's levels.
there's constant living and dying, but wait, there comes an end to it. But the asid lava year godless sheni shalom amiti. The asid lava is going to be godless sheni. It's finally going to be peace.
It's not going to die.
It's not going to die. You know what? What's pushing us to that? Current events are pushing us to that. Current events is going to push me to such a place that I will know what's killing my das. What's killing the das?
Chaim.
L'chaim. What's taken out the das? When I'm in fear, I am in disconnected. When I'm disconnected, I'm not in das, which means my das died. I got cut off. When I'm aligned, there is no COVID, there is no Putin, there is no Ukraine, there's nothing going on. Is there anything going on over here? Other than wine and candles, what else is going on over here?
It's all shiny.
What is going on? What is going on in Shabbos when you're home? You're looking for trouble. You're digging into the hole. Fine, we're not going back there. But what is happening over here? That is when you're connected. When you're connected, there is no Yanika. There's nothing. We're going to get to a point. So now you went through a process of terrorists, let's say. We're going to use current events. Terrorists, and you're like, at some point, you're like, okay, whatever, that's not working anymore. I'm not afraid. Then came the COVID. Panic. You're like, okay. And as you started.
Next.
It's going to keep coming faster and faster. To the point where you're like, they're just the same spiel, just a different color.
Color.
Different shape, different size, different weapon. Whatever, I'm checking out. The news, I have news. This is my news. Dvar Malchus is my news. My wife, my children are my news. Make money, do chesed, that's my news. That's my news. I'm not involved in Levig. I don't need to check into it because, but what happens? You're not going to know you're not going to know what happens. Anything I need to know, I know. You're going to tell me.
So when does it go to the next level?
So as you're going to realize that it's not getting me anywhere, it's just a spin. You're like, I don't need the spin. That's when you are in Das, and the Das no longer needs to die, which means you no longer will be disconnected, and you finally have the ultimate connection that you will be connected forever.
Or it goes to the next level.
Because this, the only thing that keeps coming back is the manifestations, the way the body show up. The higher consciousness, whatever is driving this body, never left. It's always here. The person dies, the body goes in, but the consciousness stays here. And then comes our body, we get manuch and zayd, and let it sit. Thank you. That's it. This is the whole spiel. I had a Neviah, this is it. I do tzirik. Tzirik, nachamol. There is no coincidence over here. This is just a consciousness that magnetically pulled together and created this in every aspect of your life. That's what it is. And if you're going through, if you're on an exit where it's dark, then it's here to bring your awareness, to trigger you from that way. In Mala Aretz means that the earth is going to be Aretz's Malchus, Deus Hashem, the whole Malchus, the whole separation program is going to know that there's going to be Deya, Das Es Hashem, the Yud Ke Vav Ke. V'amar Azal lo ilam hazeh o ilam haba, lo iko ilam hazeh o ilam haba, bo ilam hazeh ani nichtav ba Yud Ke, v'nikra ba'alav dalet, v'lo asher lo v'nichtav ba Yud, hai, v'nikra ba Yud hai. In this olam hazeh, in this consciousness, there is no das shalom gadol sheni miti. It can be, because we're in such separation that das can't push through. Listen to this. You ready, Mechi? I want you to hear this. Even though there are tzaddikim, which means it's a body that is perfectly aligned, it's in perfect flow, that the high conscious can just easily just be all the way flowing through with such an emes. Through the das that they have, the tzaddik, you asked them any part on the Torah, they knew any part of the Torah. Because they were just connected to it. Zohar. What's the Zohar? There's a consciousness, a cloud, up there that's called Zohar. And then it manifested into a body over here, and he just said Zohar. He was talking the Zohar. There's a consciousness called Chabad, and it manifested these bodies, and they just came in, and they were just speaking that consciousness. If you learn Samach Vav from the Rebbe Rashab, it's not. We're talking about here the deepest levels of programming.
If you look back at the biggest Gedolim, any question, the answer right away was like, how?
So they didn't have
How
to
do you know
work it
this?
through? They didn't have to work it through?
They
were
know.
going like that?
Well, they went through it because they just were able to. They were processing so fast. They were going through it, but it's at this point they're just. Where's the memory? He's tapped in to the consciousness.
Any question you had, the answer right away. How? Did you prepare yourself? How? You just answered.
Yeah. So that's the das mem. Afal piken ein datam shalom lahavin lo das as Hashem albayim. Listen to these powerful words. This is ein datam shalom. Their das is not shalom lahavin, to understand, v'lo das, and to know, be connected, as Hashem albayim. Like there's still stuff. There's billions and millions of tzirufim. They can't process all that because das is not 100% connected.
Like Machorai.
Yes, but here we're talking about tzaddikim. But even that, because in this, the way they land over here, our das is not that connected. We're not that on. There's still static in the middle.
Even Moshe only saw the back.
Because listen to this. This consciousness is so fragmented. Fragmentation. Let me explain to you what fragmentation is. That in our consciousness, like in other words, in your mind conscious, you can be right now in Eretz Yisrael by the Koisel. Close your eyes. And just picture. can get into it. Somebody can tell you a story from the Koisel and you can just have an experience. In my physical body, it takes 9 to 11 hours to get there, because we live in that much fragmentation. It takes me that much to process the time in order to get to that consciousness, in order for me to let go and be in a different place. Because if it happened any faster, it's too much. It's too fast. Haraya, if you get into a faster plane, it's too much. It's built exactly like that. I think that works. So, okay, so therefore, once they land here, there's already that much level of malchus, of physicality, that they can't process all the tzirufim at once, what's going on. Because Das can't process it from this place. If you are stuck in a cave somewhere, you're gonna have to find the place exactly, and the voice is not gonna be 100%. Through adnus, through a level not 100% upon him. Kuhu rav shalat ikara v'sharsha dechal am rav shalat akula. Aval eroes amitis shemoy amilchot ein bani yecholes lahasik v'les machshav v'tivisa beklal. To really, to amitis means the level of truth, like the ultimate truth, that we can process. Achin la'asid love ein ba'an yireh b'shuv Hashem. Kamam razal pasuk v'rim b'yam mehu hin alakeni. Zeh shekol echad maraba etzbar. You're going to point with your finger, and you're going to be in the process of a deal that day, or go through a process and going to say, I see it now. You're going to be able to talk, you're going to talk to your wife and have an argument like, I see Gevuris, how can I sweeten this and get into Chesed? And it's going to be Marabad's boy, like I'm seeing godliness in everything. Like you get it, you see it physically. Okay. Finally, we're going to finish it off here. As we are going into from one das to another das, the das it shuts off and it goes and makes histalkas. Because remember, once again, as we said before, the lower we fall, the more light has to happen, which means he has to go to a higher conscience to bring light to that lower conscience. Right? I need to apply more awareness when I talk to a more delicate light when I talk to a child. I have to be more delicate with it. I don't know if it's the right muscle. Maybe it is. Yes, I have to be with some more compassion and talk to more that the child can understand. But once again, from 10, I'm dropping to 9, 8. So this goes 11, 12. The lower I go, that's why it's a stalik etchericha, right? It opens up, it goes to a higher place, so it can give me more light to a lower place. The light has to reach farther, so I have to dig deeper. I have to turn on the volume more, I have to release more rope.
So he wants me to go down?
No.
No,
Or
you
if
are.
I go down, he has to
It's
go
not
down.
you. You are here. There is a consciousness that's lower that's still in Admavale. He still does not recognize it. What does that look like? When I'm doing a deal, I still think that I'm going to figure something out. So he has to come down in that place too. When it's a complete oxymoron, what do you think? You're doing what exactly over there? All you got to do is align yourself, and there should be tremendous shefa. When ik als beginnen ze beginnen, I read the mashana from Nodedoh, so gam kan tzorich aliyah. They read as el tzorich aliyah.
So not being aligned is also a big
You read it. Yeah, that's exactly. The tzad is not being aligned.
not being aligned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mashana from Nodedoh, so gam. It's like times table. It works both ways. It's just that Choshev wants me to see it from that way. Like tzad is also being a pain. I really know. Tzad is also not being aligned. Like not being aligned is tzad.
Yeah.
That's looking at it from Das Eli. Right? They just wanted you to see the bottom, but you can't fix it at all.
Wow.
But it has to
That was
be,
powerful.
because it has to be.
Human cushion dollars.
If,
Met
if,
hem helemaal wel
if the
geklapt.
lower,
Hanging off het
if the
zekerste.
lower has to be able to see Aina Levadoi, then it has to go through pain, no? Or it doesn't?
Yeah, so you can look at it like it has to go through pain, or you can look at it that
It's
when
just
I'm
right in the
disconnected,
bottom.
I'm in pain. So connect and the pain goes away. Like you said, go into the cloud. Stop trying to solve the problem. Just like I am good.
Right.
You figure it out.
But for a second, when it comes at you, it can be painful, but you just don't let it sit.
Yeah, it's a process. It's a process, and the faster, the more agility you have, the less it throws you off.
That's called checking into yourself.
Yes.
All the time.
That's exactly what we're doing. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I check in.
It's what you check in a second. Anything that happens all day, you're right with it. Hey,
Correct.
hey, what is it?
Correct.
Okay, okay, this
Correct.
is okay. Next.
And you already know you're tuning in because when you're doing a breath work, you're perfectly aligned. So you know where your center is. And the more awareness you have, the more your breath work is more aligned. So you know, it's not like, where am I reaching? You know exactly what you're reaching. You're reaching that feeling that you had when you had a breakthrough. You're going back to that feeling you had when you had it, and when breath work, and you're doing that feeling that while I was eating mindfully, you're having a mindful conversation, and it felt amazing. I'm going back to that place too. So anywhere you are, where you're bringing this coffee and this hapki, you bring awareness, you land the post, and that's my trigger. That's where I'm going back to. That's my gauge. That's the compass. And all that is happening with Das, and all that Haman tried to take away from us when Moshe died, when the consciousness went off grid. He wanted to pounce on it, because remember, this Amalek, that Chaya, he comes when you're weak. When you come out of Mitzrayim, you barely catch your bearings, 210 years of enslavement, you finally stand, you see it's a little one good day, and that's where he comes and gets you, when you're the weakest. When you're still doubting if it's real or not.
The consciousness also changes constantly.
No. Yeah, lower frequency, because we go lower, so he goes higher.
Yeah, once we
No,
get
the
that,
opposite.
okay.
You go
so
higher.
now
we
we're
are
on to the next one.
we are so physical now. We are so physical. We're in such ispashtus. We're in such fragmentation that look at it, like it's hard for us to grasp that everything is he's running the
So
show.
once we grasp one thing, we'll fall back down. Okay, gotta grasp.
No, but there's going to be an end. Once you finally realize that the whole thing is a bluff, so they have nothing anymore. So once they have nothing anymore, the game is over. Now you can now you're up. Now you're going to Das Eli.
But you're saying only in Asid Lava you get to the highest place? Only in
We are in Asid Lava right now. What do you think is that? Well, if everything is happening now, so what do I need to wait Asid Lava?
So Asid Lava is now.
In time, they estimated in time you're gonna need 6,000 years, but
Okay.
you can tap into it.
The present is the future.
We're not in Asid Lava. We're in Moshe Mashiach now. We're not in Asid Lava. Asid Lava is nobodies anymore. Like we're gonna be energy. Like this is just a band-aid. It's a mannequin. It's rubber. It's nothing. It's like it's such a cheap. It's a cheap coat.
We can tap into this lava.
What it's
Yeah, well, yes, but we don't. Again, we could, but we still need the letter. You need to know which step, where the letter is. Right now, there's only that many steps. We're the top step, right? We need to build it.
The following.
Well, this
We need
is
to build, so you know where to go. But the Moshe Mashiach is happening now.
Building met English.
Exactly. But the Mashiach will be before the Moshe Mashiach.
This is a Tzedek. It's like a statue from God.
Yeah.
So it's not a cheap thing. It's
There is. That's why I said before. If you close your eyes, take away your name. Who are you? That's what we're talking about. The energy body.
Right.
It's a more high conscious body, which means that it doesn't break down like this one. This one it breaks and it has a block. That one you see it. I don't have a block. I'm feeling anxiety. I'm blocked over here. Raise their consciousness. You know how to do it. Go to a friend and he's like, "Dude, you're amazing. I feel so good. I went to a shiur. I feel amazing. I put on film for a moment of truth. 6 minutes of power. I felt amazing. Okay, you just cleaned your energy. You brought mindfulness. Start with the baby steps. The whole thing with Black Gemura, with the Shuas, what are you talking about? You need 1 second of realness. 1 second, 1 moment of truth. And start building with that. From that place, you can start standing up for yourself. From a place of truth.
And part of Asher Koch is that you lost everything you have also, right? Besides for the fact that he makes you cult in the now, he takes away everything that you had. That all your good feelings was baloney. Shtism, I'm the real thing.
Correct. That's exactly where he hits you. He hits you right in the highest level.
Mhm.
He cuts. He hits you right where the das is. So he disconnects you. He zaps you right where the connection is.
Why does he do that?
To bring awareness to your higher consciousness. Otherwise, you wouldn't be aware that you have such a das power.
Why
You would
would
just be living
I
in.
was aware. Well,
You were not aware.
It's just
Maybe
shows
it's
you
a
what's
weird-
on the other
it's unique.
side.
Oh, well, if you are aware, then once again, then you didn't do the process. He wants you to follow the steps. We were born aware. Why do we have to drop? There's the question over and over again in Chassidus. Why bring me into such a low place when I was already so high? What's the point?
yeah.
Because he wants to bring it to the guf, to the body. Okay. והנה קודם הגדוס שני ניקר איבשנה בזמן שנפם לדעס הריש מסתלק הדעס מן בולם סיון וניקר אז בבחינס איבר והנה הירידה מה שנפם לדעס וגם כאן צריך עליה כי לא יהיה אפשר להס יוסר בבוירס ברחלה כפי טבע הסגס אשר הוא מוטפה בתחילה. Listen to this, the question you just asked, maybe. The reason you're coming down here is because you wouldn't be able to process this high level of consciousness only based on how much you can process. In other words, the speaker can only go to volume 10. Some speakers' volume 10 is like the big speaker's volume 5. So you couldn't go. But by amping it up, that's when you can have a breakthrough. When you're maxing out, that's when you can have a breakthrough. ולכן הוא נופל מן הדעס, ואז יחס צדיק דרכי לעלס הצץ מן הדעס יסוד מן הראשון. By being a tzaddik, by being a rechtvaardig means that you stop judging yourself and playing your victim card. You're being matzdik yourself. You're tzaddik within you. That's where you can go up to a higher das, stronger than the first one. Clearly, the levels of understanding you had last year and you have now is different. The levels of understanding you had 6 months ago and you have now is also different.
True.
So you keep raising the consciousness.
Yeah.
That's why I asked how many dasas there are.
But the dying is very painful. The conscious,
Weisz, because the ego doesn't want to let go. He wants to hold on. He doesn't want to die.
wants to hold, exactly. Wants to hold on to their higher consciousness.
See, before a person goes to the doctor, he's nervous. There's fear. That is choshech working you, because you're in fear, and then the doctor gives the news. More fear. That's where he lives. In Das Elyon, you use your fears and anxiety to raise your consciousness. Once I get out of victimhood, I use my pain to recognize that I'm just becoming smart, I'm becoming more aware, I'm becoming sharper, I'm becoming more flow. Yeah, fine, I'm not gonna say it. No.
Why not?
It's too harsh. It's a marshal that the Alter Rebbe uses in Tanya, but it's not. So,
Go for it.
no.
Wat is? Weer kennis te nemen.
Ich kann es nicht nehmen.
Oh,
Okay. Und Kolsch kann achar kakashot shel avir oilem volem mit oisis hateure vachar kakashalom mit meven beteure. Wir kann mir karten sa schöne schnurfe man das. You know what?
Gesagt kannst du.
What?
Wer gesagt?
Fin jena zat.
eerst hoog, het gaat maar die dat is
Yeah, I can't say it.
Jetzt mist het.
And now you're have to say it.
You can't say it. You can't say it. Jetzt mist het.
Für welche Saat nimmst du es? Also kennst du schon. Für welche Saat ist es?
Umgetrachten. No, es ist von Azad, von, when Yender got the Dorcha process, no, you can't, yeah, it's like, okay, or you talk, like, I'm gonna process.
What was the last hit?
I bet, exactly, I bet for the pain, but I'm not gonna give it.
15 minute fences?
Kennis.
Nach straffen, 15 minute fences.
But through the pain and the
Well, everybody goes through the thing.
Nee, want die neemt spin mag.
So the cancer job personal names ook moeten.
Mechi, hoe de draait men hebben?
No.
So you gotta be careful.
No, but the Alter Rebbe says, because I just found a clean language word. You're mafker everything. Nothing holds bar. There is no scenario that this one is too much. No such thing. You're mafker everything. You find the levels of Yitzchak Avinu in everything. You surrender to every level. As strong as he comes, you come back stronger. Because ultimately you have no choice. By his will, you live. And his will is for you to live at number 10. So he's going to keep pushing. Kitchabricha is drilling. You have to keep driving back.
It
never stops.
I heard the nice Peshat from Adam. In the uncomfortable situations, there is what.
So regardless, you're going to be pulled into a higher consciousness.
That's what he wants.
That's his ratzon. We are his ratzon.
So there's something good there.
It's not something good. It is good. It's just separating us from the physical understanding. It's pulling it by being more like, and remember something, we exist in the like of. We exist in the zero. There's a symptom. Because there was expansion, and then there was absolute symptom. So when you are going through your squeeze, your ultimate squeeze, you are in that spin of symptom. There's a more symptom, means that there's a higher download coming. The more squeeze you have, the more squeeze you get, the more you have to surrender of your like I want. Okay, now I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so as you surrender.
You can dishandle.
Okay, so try fight him.
Was Kelly wer bist du?
Nein, wer bist du? Weiß, wer du bist. Ja.
Was geschehen, wenn du ich will nicht.
Sorry, Grasman, wer bist du?
Okay, ga doen het in dezelfde. Okay, laat me gaan
Was
laten.
geschehen, then I zoekt ich will nicht.
No,
Is there a fight between me and him?
If einer so gewusst.
Is there a fight?
19 sided.
Ich will das so die was.
No, it's not fight. It's doing it. He's trying to train you.
So what is the result?
Wow.
Yeah.
Going
So the more we
What?
have to let go of the
What
I
question?
want.
It's a very good question. It's a whole topic.
So much the whole thing is I have to let go of the I want.
I'm a
Of the I want.
Yeah.
I'm
That's not my own.
spinning this for a week
Can I
already.
do the other?
Wisdom?
So, okay, Ratzen. Let's just say that from the place when he said enough, there was a gravitational pull that was created. Ratzen, desire, is not something that's in the body. You don't have Ratzen within you. It's something that's above the body. It hovers over your whole body, and it allows me to move my Ratzen allows me to move the hand. It's almost like the show that they pull the strings. This is what it is. The more aware you become, the more present you become, the more you're hovering above, the less you are in Das Tachten, which means that the body is controlling you. Rather, you are controlling the body. Tzaddikim were completely in control of their bodies. Okay? So, the Ratzen is an intelligence, it's a consciousness. It's the same Ratzen everywhere. The receiver is receiving based on what he's able to receive. In other words, my hand receives this amount of intelligence, and the brain receives that amount of intelligence, all driven by Ratzon, because Ratzon has a desire to express itself. Again, this receives intelligence to move my hand, and my brain is able to receive intelligence from Ratzon to think. Ratzon, so what came first, the chicken or the egg? Right, is what creates my brain like this and the sensors over here like that and my arm like that. What is that? That is once again Ratzon. Ratzon does both. Ratzon is like a stamp. Shekeya boil it. He stamps, boil it, and he stamps you in, and he engraves in your head tracks that's able to travel, to carry the signals. Exactly the way you think. Exactly the way he needs you to think. So there is a body, and he stamps in himself. Here he stamps in this way, and here he stamps in that way. So intelligence is what carves out the brain, and the brain then runs the tracks of whatever the intelligence wants to run on it. So the Ratzon is an intelligence that does both.
So as much as you become present, your desires goes away.
No.
Not your desires for doing other stuff because you're aware.
So you have a higher conscious desire.
High conscious.
You're aligning yourself. You're aligning yourself with the higher conscious desire.
What do you do when you have the desire?
Which desire?
Of what?
A high conscious desire.
No.
So no,
you do
tap
this.
into
What are you
it.
doing
So
right
I
now?
do the desire.
What?
Yes,
I
you are
do
in
the
it.
desire that I
Of
have.
course, you do desire. He wants you to express it. He wants you to eat a sandwich and feel it and experience it and be present with it. He wants you to have a relationship and be in romance and provide and create. That's what he
And
wants.
das Tachten the Ratzon is blocked?
No, das Tachten, you're busy trying to figure out how to do it.
So my question is, if every
I have problems. In das Tachten, I have problems.
You're not in touch with Ratzon.
You're not in touch with das alien. You're in touch with das Tachten. He
But it's
hijacked.
consequences.
What's the consequences?
Knowing that we're in Das Alien.
No.
Yeah, it's consequences.
Well, what's the alternative? There's consequences in being a das Tachten too.
No, I'm saying that the switch, the falling behind has consequences.
Of course. Well, let's put it this way. Yes and no, but sometimes when you're in das Tachten, when you're not das Tachten, when you have an afila, it's two different things.
We have what?
When you're falling down.
No.
Not always when a
About
person
falling
falls
down.
down is he in das Tachten.
No. Talk about being high there
Yeah.
and realizing that we have a moment of Das Tachten.
Correct.
That switch.
When you're realizing that you're having a moment of das, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase
That
that.
is good.
I'm in Das
I
Alien.
want to say, when you're realizing that you're having a das Tachten moment, that's when you're waking up.
Correct.
But that's painful.
No.
Because you wake, it's like living in. That's when
It's not painful.
you just
It's painful.
died. You just died and you're coming alive again. You only chop yourself on the way down when you're already bottom. You only chop yourself when you're like, I'm spinning. It's too much. My business, everything. Like, okay. That's when you're already waking up.
But before you have this awareness, you're in Das Tachten.
You're not. No, it's called an afila. You can be in an afila. I can wake up in the morning and have anxiety and be stressed out. And it does not mean that I'm going to have a low frequency conversation or go do something low frequency. I'm still holding myself. I have an afila.
You're still in consciousness.
I'm in pain. I have an afila. Yes. No, I'm in pain. I'm stressing. I'm stressing.
On what floor were you tripping? If you tripped,
Yeah.
first floor or the fifth? In order to come back up, we need to let go.
Yeah. How do you let go? You say enough l'chaim, so you're able to let go.
Didn't take it wrong.
There's
We
also,
haven't said enough to time.
you guys are not drinking.
Not drinking?
I'm not drinking. Help somebody lift the bottles.
So
Okay.
the question is, if every desire you have, you gotta do it?
No. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Some desires you do. Then maybe there's a desire on the other side. All right, let's finish over there. When Ibra Gadol Rishon Nikar Other Rishon, the Ibra Gadol Sheni Nikar Other Sheni. The Haina all of the Rishon, all of the Sheni. Remember that as you're going through this process, we have a Lufa Shalom is with us. The Aleph. Ki b'chol mokum Hashem zurich imu afilu b'maya katnas Rishon. Aleph, high consciousness with you even in katnas Rishon. I believe we said this before. What that means is that as you are in your lowest matzav and you're physically dealing with emotional pain, you are physically experiencing a manifestation of your mamash not panim upon him. The guy that sits in koil is not panim upon him. He has him in his head. He has him in his head. But
It's like even the rabbis, they had it in the head.
they had it in the head, yes. The foot soldiers is the one that's reporting back to him. The foot soldiers out there, they're the ones that are really fighting. And they're seeing godliness in every deal and everything they're doing.
When someone's learning to walk, he keeps on tripping.
When someone's learning to walk, yes. While you're in the womb, while you're being a baby, while you're spinning, there's a nevdolag on your head. Taka then, because you can't get in the way of it. You're not going to start questioning it from Adam McCoymas. You're just really there. in Mekolshken, Achaka, Kishiyotza Lavira Oilam, Ulemet Oisatir, Achaka Shlume Maiv Matur. And then you come out, Gamba Me Katnas Hashem Shnofim Anadas, Never Bechol Tzerosim Loitzar, he's always there. V'chein Im Avron Sashana El Bechorish Adar, L'Ramas Al Omer Ki Adar Hu Alav Dar. It's a Lufa Shel Oilam. Any other month we would go through a process like this, it would be brutality. But since whatever experience you're having, you're drinking and you're going through a deep, emotional, surgical, brain surgery, being carved out, and you're fully aware and you're giggling while drinking wine. That's because Aleph is present right here.
By Moshe the surgeon, huh?
If this was Cheshvan right now, you would be screaming. You know what it would look like in Cheshvan? What that looked like. When you went running with your pants.
Oh, Moshe,
That's what that looks like.
Moshe, you're just an expression from God. So
Whatever that means.
We're all expressions of
Yeah.
God.
That's what he's saying.
So God's the surgeon.
That was surgery happening not in other.
Everything is
In Moichan de Katnas.
But I think the other itself.
Huh? That was not happening in other. While in Moichan de Katnas, there was a massive surgery. It's like, it's too much, I'm out of here.
Oh.
By having this experience,
Definitely so, and like I said before, that Amalek, as smart as he is, he's only as smart as the light we give him. The Chutzmiak thinks that it's like this. But really, we're just holding space for him. So when Moshe died, he really died. The same thing happened with the Egel that we covered 2 weeks ago. They were panicking, they were going to cease to exist. They were freaking out because he's not here. Like, okay, it's over. Somebody has to. They started buzzing like flies. Okay.
You went into that.
Let me just finish one more line, and then we can take questions. You gonna remember the question? Fine. Shouldn't Gala the Kusa Gamba Ibasheni? Kada Shiova the Gala Shena Miti Matmat at Shiova Mashiach Tzidkene B'Mheri B'Yimenu. She'oz Yishlam Inyan Adas B'Chol Prativ. Okay, that's when it's going to be done.
So as soon as he dies, he gets reborn.
Yes, but finally, once we're going to finally, at some point, we're going to line that properly. You're going to finally get it.
And stay in it.
I had a
Once you get it, you can't not stay in it. Yeah.
I had a deep question about it.
Okay.
A
But
deep question. So I'll come back.
fine. Yes, but you didn't invoice it. Him, I asked him. I pointed it out. I think as I asked him if he's going to remember, that's when you forgot it. I think I punched you out,
We can
but it's
still
still there. It's
switch it? We
hovering
can
above
still
your
switch
head. Let it
Maybe you
rebirth.
got
It's
the
going to come
notes.
back more colorful. But as soon as you got it, just interrupt because I want to hear it. V'zeh ben adirish la deshene ele kriyas megillah matanas avyonim. Teres shenika.
This is happening now.
Zapirim spiel.
This is it.
Kriya shenika Hashem is gala. She's gala etzon the kutz likle kulam Hashem Hashem yuchad.
The Chaz is right.
V'zeh kriyas hamegillah loshan is galas. In matanas lavden is az disala madreges megillah is galas. Because you got food.
No.
It's gewaldig. Kris Megillah is called Lushan Nesgalas. As you read the Megillah, it becomes Nesgala. Just like you have to check your mezuzahs to be Nesgala, to bring out that energy, to open it up.
That's why you have to check my didn't.
The Rebbe sent, yes, what do you mean? First to check if it's possible or not, and then to check as you have a Yirai Shemaim looking at the mezuzah, he recharges the letters. He brings it Bez Galas. He reads it out loud. So, Oisis Machkim is, in other words, no, Kim Sivasayim, it's important to say the letters, to cut it out, to bring the words into Veld, to carve out the Veld. We spoke about the Egel, that they used by the Egel, the Masrangelect in a Tifel. So the Zohar calls it that there was a knife that Enosh had, and he was able to carve out. In other words, he saw what was going to happen, and he was able to manifest it faster. In other words, he saw and he was able to carve out. Which means, I'll get to that in a second. So he became like a kleiner god, because he was performing miracles. He was able to see and then carve it out. And it was a Avodah Zarah, because he manipulated energies. The only other thing that has that koyach to create, that has the knife of creation, is the consciousness called Israel. Our tongue is able to carve out realities. What these Chaver and the Egel did is they put us in some sort of a globe, in a bubble. So we're living through the golden calf, which is Wall Street, which is the money chasing a false dream. And this is the same idea as, so now that we're waking up, this is like the grinder, like you're carving out, as he's saying the letters, you're carving it out. And so the Megillah is Galus. When you're reading the miracle, Adal and Hamelach and all that, you're creating in the moment. You're able to carve out your own Megillah, your own Apirim spiel. So it's a spiel, so we have a way to grab onto it. If not for the Purim, we wouldn't know that such a thing exists, that we have such a koyach. We would never be aware of the type of awareness that we have. But from Amalek, what he tried to do, he brought our awareness to that. So now we know how to use the cheret. We know how to carve out a new reality. I know that there's something called as Arar Homen Baruch Madchai and the whole spiel van Hapachu and the ganze Zach. The whole thing.
So some people have a Chanukah, some people have it Chamashus B'Shvat, some people have it Asura B'Tavis, and some people have it Piram.
But Piram is the koyach of that gives us the das of his kashrus. Then now is the koyach, because that consciousness is full glory in Chodesh Uder, which is the das. That's why I have the koyach to carve out to connect, to make the ultimate connection. I'm carving out my connection. Again, Chamusha B'Shvat, Chanukah is all different tools that we have. We're fighting in Netzach Hoid. Right now we're fighting in Das. My war is with the brain. I'm going to connect, perfect connection with all the fiber optics, billions of connections. Das is land, because right now is the time that I can focus on that. The consciousness, the current events are pushing me in, is bringing my awareness exactly where I need to be. It's moistening all the fibers. So I know exactly where the triggers are. The Atara is right there. I know the sensitivity of it. That's where it's pulling me. That's where other is pushing us. Yeah? Chanukah, it's in my Netzach, which my victories and this is one thing. Moshe B'Shvat is the Rosh Hashanah Ilanas. Pesach is my Ava. Right now it's Das. Once I have Das, what happens after Das?
Then you can.
Once you have Das, he is Metzias Mitzrayim.
So we can't look back.
Once you have Das as Metzias Mitzrayim, that's when you're going out of your own Mitzrayim. And once you do that process of Metzias Mitzrayim, comes Chodesh Ir and Yashem Refecho, because we need healing. You just went through a brutal battle over here for months. So that's when we go into the summer, and you bring the Bekirim and Tzad Tzchol Ganze Spiel. And then you go to Matan Torah. That's when you need this.
So you got rid of the past. You can't go back to the past. Now it's the present. Now you start about the future. Can we think about the future?
In the present moment, you can think about the future. Yeah, think about the future. Think about the future this way. How many levels can I understand? How much more clarity can I have, rather than what am I going to do next year? Instead of working on what am I going to do next year, how can I get more aware? How can I become more flow? How can I bring more flow? And now, as you see a little darkness and confusion popping up, you attack that too, because from waking up that, you bring more awareness to yourself. So you start playing that game instead of playing Potter's game. You play your game. That's why you look in Zohar. Reb Shimon and his Chavrai would constantly walk around. They would find this guy, the taxi driver, have a conversation with him. They would be like, "How do I find the Yid Kevavke in this guy? Like, who are you?" They were just going around like having a good time, having Fabringas. Him and the Chavrai, they walked around and they started causing trouble.
But to stop someone and look for a way out with putting out Yid Kevavke with them, from that it was the next level.
Yes.
Because he's stopping it.
Correct. And how do you stop it? Like, as you don't have to walk with the people; they come to you. You start looking for your interactions. Any interaction that you have, you look for the Yid Kevavke in that. That's exactly what we're talking about. And that's what Human was attacking, because our Das went down. So he felt now is a good time. They will never be able to meet another guy they will never be able to meet another situation and bring Yid Kevavke, because the connection is off. Their Moshe, their Das, he died.
So what's Adaluya then?
Adaluya is to the place of Nin Sharabina. What's Nin Sharabina? Such a easy question. Such a good try for everybody, including for your sidekick. Adaluya is that in Mentes, I love you. In Mentes, I can still process. I have reasons and I figure it out. It's because of this, it's because of that. In Nun Sharabina, how do I get into Nun? It's all good. It's Abdullah. How is it going to work? I don't know. I really don't know, because I know already I can't process it. It's called a mantra. What's the Chachma? What's called a mantra? A mantra is that you repeat something 1,000 times. You have a whole crowd saying it. The same thing, davening is a mantra. You say it and say it until you feel everybody's singing together, or you have a crowd of 10,000 people singing. It's a mantra. It takes you into a place. There's also an emotional mantra. The same spin keeps happening over and over and over again until you get tired of it, like I surrender.
I have a question. You mentioned, can you explain a little more surrender? Let's say it comes up judgments. What do you mean surrender? Like, surrender is
I can answer the question with the 4 quarters. It's the data, the judgments, the feeling, and what's your desire?
Or you can answer the question.
I can answer the question. The judgments are there too. Where's the higher awareness in the judgment? Which brings you back to what my desire is. What do I want? What do I want? I have this and this is happening. Instead of kriechen it in, trying to figure out what do I want? I want to have kach v'kach. Okay, so go to the desire. It's here to bring awareness to your desire.
So surrender means just let go of it and find the deeper message in it?
Yes. How? By, as long as I'm still judging myself negatively, I'm in low frequency. And it can also be that the spin is here to bring, sometimes we forget why we're doing it. So my challenge is here to reawaken my desire.
If you're not satisfied with one answer, find for a different answer.
I didn't know why. That's why there's Shabbos. We work 6 days. By the 6th day, I don't even know why I'm working. So I come back into Shabbos. It recenters me.
If Shabbos the same thing as the mantra.
Ik heb terug nog, yes. En dus wat er geschmeckt aan maakt, dat God wil. Als er Shabbos hier natuurlijk, dat God wil. Weisz toch zo hoe het is.
Yom Shekil Shabbos.
That's where we're going.
Oh no.
Can I finish the mimer so we can play a song?
You still have a mimer? Oh my god.
No, I'm finishing this piece. Okay. Maar Matan, zo lees al die samen denken dat tonen haniem schwal. Hey guys, this is it. En Matan Slavian, mishe als is alle madreges at tachtonim, hanien beschwelen. As you are right now, we're in a matzav of haniem and shvelim. We're poor. We're struggling. But this is Matanas Lavyonim. Once important when we have the connection of das, because human is triggering that, that's when this Matanas Lavyonim. It comes down all the way to the bottom. Ad offer. Till it comes down to the offer, the dust. Offer is ashes. This is called the world of separation. Kol amidus avion in Baborisburg, v'yachshuv lehem matan gemurah be, yeah. Hier Weisz is what it says then, yeah.
What action can I do to step out of the low
Alehem Reb Chasdeicho Ameini Ameini B'yemes Ameini Ameini B'yemes No, it's another guitar. It's a whole different spiel. It's coming back. Don't worry. On electric, it has to be done. It's not meant for this. Moshe the yom Moshe oyoy shalachti Mishmoya can't go up because